It is second versus ninth on the competition ladder, round 20. Holden Cup continues live from Pepper Stadium, and the nightmares start. For the home side, Dean Bloor, knock on from the kickoff. Look at the smiles on the face of the Titans.
Yeah, and it was a wobbly old kickoff, wasn't it? A lot of the guys that are starting the game now, they really do try and get this spiralling type of kickoff, and this has worked an absolute treat starting off, Dean Bloor.
Did he just misread that, or was it such a bad kick that it wobbled all over the place late and he genuinely had no idea? Either way, he and his 12 teammates are on the back foot after just 40 seconds. The Gold Coast Titans, with Manakaros in a dummy half, playing it back at the angle. They're going to keep it tight here through Blake Lenehan. Manakaros looks for 5, but over Fotuaika. Inside the opening minute, the Gold Coast Titans, a beauty.
Yeah, and it all started from the kickoff. The wobbly old kickoff came up trumps for them. And what about this ball by Manakaros? It was flat, but they were running onto it hard. And Fotuaika, crashes over the line there early, and it's perfect. Exactly what the Gold Coast needed. Up against this Panthers side, they can come out of the blocks really fast and they can blow sides away. But this is perfect for this side who's on that tightrope, as we spoke about, trying to get into the top 8. This is such an important game, and they get the opening points.
Wow. I don't think even the most optimistic of Titans fans could have crystal balled this type of start. Ethan Roberts from right in front. A good goal kicker. He's not going to miss those. So 6 points to nil, the Gold Coast over the Penrith Panthers. We spoke about the equation in terms of finals football. There are 3 sides at the top of the ladder that have basically qualified for the finals. There are 3 sides at the bottom of the ladder that are basically out of finals contention. So the equation is simple. There are 10 sides separated by just 6 points. It is a fantastic race to the finals.
Well, and if you have a look at the Gold Coast Titans, they're actually on 22 points at the moment, but the 4th place Seagulls are only on 24, 2 points above them. So they're not far out of it. But a much-needed win here today would go a long way to getting that position in the top 8.
Oh, we almost had 2 kickoffs, 2 errors there. The Gold Coast, a little shaky and a little nervous down in that southeastern corner. That's where the Sun will play havoc in the Intrust Super Premiership game and also into first grade. So we've seen 2 kicks, a little shaky, a little average in the air. We'll go down to the sideline with Emma. We know it's a lovely day, Em. The sun is shining. There's no clouds. What about the wind down there? Is it a consideration?
It is a little bit windy, Andy. So, I mean, we saw that ball. It just sort of didn't go where they thought it was going to go. We can see on top of that stadium across there, there's the flags are going. So there is a little bit of wind. Certainly might play a part. Might be a few more drop balls.
The drop here, midway through the count for the Gold Coast Titans. They simply needed to get to the end of their set there. After a dream start, a turnover and 6 points, they needed to get to their kick. This is Mitch Kenny. Panthers with a chance to respond and respond in style. Egan. That is really nice, and Caleb Aikens, almost untouched, makes his way to the line. You get the feeling there might be some points here at Pepper Stadium today.
Well, 4 minutes in and already 10 points on the board, and that just looked like a training run drill, didn't it? They did it with absolute ease, and this is what the Panthers can do. If you give them a good field position, gift them with some possession like the Titans have done. Caleb Aikens shows the speed. He races away to score out wide. And that error from the Titans just after the kickoff, after scoring those opening points, has come back to really haunt them.
The Gurus at the Fox League Lab, straight onto the calculator. We are on track for 200 points in this game if we keep going this way. We may not quite get there, but that's where we're on track to at the moment. Now, Caleb Aikens. Good news story during the week in regards to Caleb and Daniel Brown. 24 hours ago, the Welsh train-on squad for the World Cup was announced, a provisional side with 38 players named, and young Caleb and Daniel both included in that 38. So to them and their families, good on you. That is an enormous rap on two very talented young men. An enormous honour to be able to possibly go on at the end of this year and represent your country in the World Cup. Dean Bloor from the sideline. Wow, no issues there. We're 6 apiece before the 6-minute mark here at Pepper Stadium. Yes, he does look like Dane Gagai. Just a younger version, yes.
What about that strike from the sideline? Wow, that was neat. Straight as a pin.
Guys, it's quite impressive too because Caleb Aikens never really was a fullback. He actually came into 20s as a centre, but with Dylan Edwards going up this year to first grade, they didn't have a fullback, so he put his hand up and he's just been absolutely killing it this year. The coaching staff have singled him out as one of their best.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Emma, and a versatile, talented young man. Obviously a quick learner as well because he's really fitted into this #1 jersey and the structure and the fullbacks play in the modern game really well, really easily as well. Penalty here for the Panthers.
Yeah, Corey Menakaris, he put a good shot on off the opening run off that kickoff, but just a little bit too much in the tackle.
Must hold with your foot.
2 tries, but we haven't had a completed set yet. Panthers from their backfield. Tennis Mitch-Travell. He's been impressive over the last couple of weeks, Mitch. Oh, good service from Egan to Skinner, and Skinner knew exactly where it was coming. Keep your eye on the #9 for Penrith today, and a team full of stars. This young man will shine. He's played the last couple of weeks in Trust Super Premiership. As we get a forward pass here from the Panthers, that's poor execution. But going back to Wade Egan, amazing stats in the fact he scored, I think it was 8 tries in his last 3 NYC games, and then played 4 up in the Intrust Super Premiership and scored a try a week.
It's amazing stats, isn't it? And he's taken that step up, and with that return of Peter Wallace, as we've spoken about, he has to move back, but he's a great sign for this young side to have that leadership and that spark through the middle. And you can see that service. They're already making some good metres through the middle of the Titans forwards.
Peter Wallace, Sione Katoa, Mitch Rain and Wade Egan. 4 hookers that are battling, I guess, for their position on the ladder within the club at the moment. And I would suggest over the next 12 months, those positions on the ladder may well vary and vary greatly. Egan and Katoa are very much part of this next generation. So Pete and Mitch need to just keep an eye over their shoulder because the kids are coming.
Yeah, and it's always healthy to have that competition for spots within the club. And if Wade Egan continues a rapid rise at the rate he's doing it at the moment, he won't be far away from an NRL shot as well.
Up we go from the boot. AJ Brimson, and double knock on here. First off Penrith, second off the Gold Coast. Not the take he would have liked, Jamin Wormleeton. Really misjudged that, the poor kid, out on this right wing. But we said and illustrated earlier that wind is really cruel to the back 3 today. Swirling around here. A tough assignment. Here come the Titans looking for #2, big Rory Lillis. Oh, has he kept it? No, he hasn't. A knock-on ruled here. Rory begs to differ.
Charging back onto the ball, you can see just goes to get that arm free to get the offload to Menakaris, and just can't hold onto the ball. And both sides just struggling to get into the rhythm at the moment. Errors coming from each side.
Head in, Tyrone. Must hold. Fall
An
in.
opportunity here for the Panthers just to get a good solid set away. A good kick,
Yours, mate.
get it down that other end of the field and put some pressure back onto the Gold Coast Titans, who started so well. With some shaky play, the Panthers right back into it.
Move now. Off the ball. Hold. Hold.
The Panthers through Mitch Kenny.
It's been a nice simple set here from the Penrith Panthers, just driving it forward. Here they go, play 4, play 5, they kick it downfield, Bloor. Nice take in the backfield there by Tyrone Roberts-Davis. 6 NRL games to his name. He really needs to lead by example if his young Titan side and teammates are going to get this game, and this will certainly help. A penalty here, that'll get him in some really good field position, an opportunity to try and hit back with some points.
They need to take the most of every possible territorial advantage they can today, the Titans, against one of the competition heavyweights. You can ill afford to be starting the majority of your sets deep in your own backfield, and this is the perfect start for them. Appiata, Noema, the left back rower, takes the first hit up. It goes through the hands of Brimson. They're playing it wide. Roberts, good ball here, and very easy. Curtis Dancy, smaller. On the right wing for the Gold Coast Titans. That's 3 tries inside the opening 12 minutes. We're well ahead of the clock, and the Titans looking superb.
Well, I spoke about it down the other end of the field, that Caleb Aikens, it looked like a training run drill, and this is exactly the same. Beautiful set of hands. They built numbers nicely onto that outside. Great service from dummy half Menakaris. He's been impressive. Ethan Roberts, we've spoken heavily about him. Passes the ball onto the outside. It all looks too easy. And Danzy Smaller goes across in the corner, and they do. They make the most of that field position, Andy, that you spoke about, which is so important up against a classy little side, this Penrith team.
We wind the clock back 5 years. These two under-20 sides met here at Pepper Stadium, and we almost had to invoke the mercy rule. 78 points to nil in favour of the Penrith Panthers in a game that saw many future stars do their thing and do it oh so well. It's a wonderful nursery Panthers have got out here, and the young men that have come through over the last 5 or 6 years and the ones that are coming through, it's going to be a really strong footy club over the next decade, the Panthers. Ethan Roberts. What a display of goal kicking. To start our under-20s game here at Pepper Stadium. First it was Dean Bloor, then Ethan Roberts, both from the sideline, and both never looked like missing.
Stay behind.
You speak about that game last year. One of those key players was Tyrone May. It was great to see him get his opportunity last week and score a try. We spoke about him quite heavily over a number of years about what a great footballer he was. He played in a number of different positions and making that transition up into the NRL now, which is fantastic to see.
Tyrone back after that debut against the Warriors, back playing in Trust Super Premiership footy. Up next here on Fox League, and joining him will be Bryce Cartwright, returning from injury. Gee, that was forward, wasn't it? That last pass. Here's Brimson. He doesn't care. The ref didn't blow the whistle. Blake Lenehan. Here's the pass in the replay box. We'll let you be the judge. I'll stop it. Obviously, the ref's unsighted on that one, or obstructed with one of the other 32-odd players in their eye line. Another penalty here for the Titans. Oh, missed kick has ended up a metre. Actually, not even that. Out from the try line. Take it back as far as he wants. Here is Justin Fye. Corey Manakaros moves into dummy half. They play the short side, a work move and a try. Philip Sammy is the scorer. This is really good football from the Gold Coast Titans, and what we've seen is putting what they do on the practice field onto the football field, and they have done it at 100%.
Yeah, a couple little set pieces as we go back to this flat-ish forward pass there from the Gold Coast Titans. A missed kick to the sideline, and it gives them that opportunity. It was a high shot from the Penrith Panthers that gave them that penalty. They get this field position. Menakaris, crafty out of dummy half, brings back on the inside Philip Sammy and scores. And they make the Penrith Panthers pay for that ill discipline in defence. But they've played fast to the edges. AJ Brimson, he's taken the ball to line with plenty of speed. Menakaris out of dummy half. His service has been great.
From the Fox Sports Lab, Titans led both of these games at half-time last year, Tungy, but got done in both games. So they certainly know the drill here. Whilst it's about establishing a good lead, it's about holding on for dear life. AJ Brimson, so good early. So too this man, Ethan Roberts, was probably just a little too relaxed there and didn't follow through. As a result, it was waved away, 16 points to 6 in favour of the Gold Coast Titans. Benny Wolf in his 90th game as an under-20s coach. That'll age anyone. 90 games as a coach. Real football guy from a good footy family, and delighted to see him doing well. And that's 2 kickoffs today, almost 3 that have ended in tears. And here come Penrith, and you simply cannot invite a side like Penrith into the game like this. Sam Martin-Savage will play the ball. It comes back to Jermaine Hopgood and on to Westcott. Using the ball now is Tommy Skinner. Big Tom heads to within 6 or 7 metres of the line. Panthers have stacked the right-hand side. So too defensively of the Titans, and Philip Sammy, the try scorer, launched upon Caleb Aikens there. Blower. This is Skinner. Now the Titans are short on the left-hand side of the field. Egan comes right, and Egan will score here. He continues an incredible try-scoring run, the number 9, a super talent. And he'll benefit from playing a month up with the big boys, and maybe that's one result there. A little bit of eyes-up footy and good footy.
Yeah, certainly is. A bit of deception, plenty of speed out of dummy half, but this is a kickoff which has been quite amazing, the 3 kickoffs. As you've spoken about, Andy, they've been wobbly and 2 have come up trumps, and this time he just had his eyes out to the left-hand side, and it just held the Titans' defensive line back a little bit, and he races out. And quite amazingly, of 19 minutes of play, we've only had 2 kicks in general play. It has just been a topsy-turvy game where both sides have struggled to get into their rhythm, and there's been plenty of points still on the back of that.
Some really easy, unforced errors. Both sides guilty of that. Blower with a much easier kick this time around. 26, about to be 28 points in less than a quarter of the game. Could we get to 100 for the first time? Law steps in, the flags will go up. So much talent to choose from out here, and Dean Bloor is one of those young men that we're going to see a whole lot of in the years to come. Panthers and Titans are the main game at 3 p.m. to kick off live back-to-back NRL games. Penrith Gold Coast, Canberra Melbourne, and North Queensland and the Warriors. I think Vossi said last night, survival Saturday. Well, very much that.
Yeah, absolutely. Each game with seasons on the line for the Titans and the Panthers only, really buying for that spot in the top 8. The Raiders, their season goes on the line, and it's similar to the Warriors when they take on the Cowboys up there. So, yeah, there's a lot to like. There's some desperation coming into the football now.
Working it out from their backfield through their locked forward, Mitch Kenny. Back to Dean Bloor inside the 40. Doesn't get the angle on this. As a result, it's a pretty easy take for Tyrone Roberts-Davis. TRD, one of the real strengths of his game is placement, as a tired-looking Bryce Cartwright looks on. He's waiting to see the debut of his younger brother, Ben.
Hold here.
Getting ready for an Intrust Super Premiership return from injury. Back from surgery and back at the right time of the year for the Panthers.
Yeah, it certainly helps them, doesn't it? A guy with that much skill and offloading ability. I'll certainly welcome him back.
Downfield they go. There's going to be too much on this, is there? No, he's not going to even take the chance there. Caleb Aikens at the back. He's deep into the in goal. Decided to make a play at it. Here's Daniel Brown. Bumping his way through the line. Crabbing across field a little as well. Late footwork at the line here from the Panthers. Just trying to temper, I guess, the Titans' defensive line, which is really shooting out fast at the Penrith big men.
Yeah, there's been some great line speed. It's just making sure that they control that wrestle after that.
Oh.
And this late in the tackle count is going to really hurt. They'll get into some really good field position. They've got so much strike on either side of the park. Interested to see young Toby Westcott. He's an Orange Sim junior. Play 7, 6 or 9. He's out there on that left-hand side pushing Sam Martin-Savage out into the centres. I'm keeping an eye on him. He hasn't had too many opportunities at the moment, but he's a real talent.
Penrith 28-4 winners over the Warriors last start. To put back-to-back together. They hadn't won in the best part of a month leading into that game against the Warriors in New Zealand. And with the return of Egan, confidence should be higher. However, as we say that, in miscommunication and poor execution there, Egan moves back to dummy half. He finds the half-back Bloor. This is again Tom Skinner. I think Fotuaker and Fine need to muscle up here for the Gold Coast Titans. They're certainly big and strong enough to do just that, but too many easy metres for Skinner, Ravel and Kenny at this stage. Here is Mitch Kenny in the 13 jersey, popping his head through the line. Centre field. It's on left, but they come to the right. Dean Bloor backs his way towards the line. Wade Egan will move into dummy half. He'll have a little look here as well, Egan. Plays it to one of the big boys in Ravel. Ball stripped, allowed to be. Let off there for the Titans.
And you're right in through the middle there, Andy. The Titans, big men really need to step up. They're making some easy meters going through there, and that's getting them on the front foot, and it's giving those opportunities to Egan. Martin Savage, Westcott on that outside to really use their speed, create some havoc on the outside. But the Titans, they really need a strong set here. They've done well so far. They're searching for a penalty, and they get one. This is certainly going to help. And I spoke earlier about both teams struggling to get into their rhythm, and it's still they still haven't settled into that 24 minutes into the game.
We often speak about the fact we term them kids because of their age, but certainly not because of their size. I saw a kid last night playing for South Sydney, 18 years of age, Jordan Mailata, 200 centimetres in height, 147 kilos and rock solid. He started the year, or started off season, at 163 kilos. He makes Nelson Asofa Solomona look like a dwarf. He is gigantic, 200 centimetres, almost 150 kegs. A big, big unit. There's no one that size out here today, but some big boys and some very talented boys. And the Gold Coast are looking to show you that talent at the moment on Fox League. Philip Sammy looking for his second. They've already scored 3 tries, looking for number 4. Zay Wallace is on the field for Corey Manakaros. I think may have a knee injury. Brimson out the back. Really good footy from the Titans again. And the super talented Trey Williams scores on the left wing.
Well, it's the backline movements that's catching the Panthers' edges. Napping on that outside. They're going to the line with great speed. Good service out of dummy half by Wallace. And this time on the outside, Trey Williams. There's enough room to move the fleet-footed flyer on this left edge. But they're playing fast. AJ Brinson, he's really taking the ball to the line with plenty of speed. They've got good service out of dummy half with Menakaros, but also Wallace, who's just come onto the field. And when they get that right, they can show how potent they are out wide.
Only a little fella, isn't he? Zay Wallace in the 14 jersey. Trey's not a big boy, but very talented one. First for the season, 6th for his career.
Started off down in Canberra. Trey Williams, plenty of time in the NYC in a number of positions. And in wing, fullback, centres, in the halves. He's very versatile. Had an opportunity to go to the Gold Coast Titans and making the most of that on that left edge. A few tries as you've spoken about. And I've got some injury concerns as well with the Panthers. Not only a little bit of ill discipline creeping in and now some injury concerns, and the Gold Coast Titans starting to just make the most of that on the scoreboard. Tough kick out wide here now. Tyrone Roberts-Davis curling it back around, but just misses, and the scoreboard remains 20 points to 12, Andy.
20 to 12 in favour of the Titans, who have been playing some really sexy footy. Congratulations to them and to Ben Wolfe, but we are only 27.5 minutes into an 80-minute game, and the Panthers have got plenty of points in them, we know that. Corey Manakaros off the field and enjoying the sunshine here and the cameras. Little wave to the family back home. Here come the Titans again. Well, to start with, we got the kick off successfully and we're back into it. And Fai, should I say, and Manakaros, along with Fotuaika, trying to lay a platform here. Is the goal, as a former skipper, Al, is the goal very simply, let's just get to our kick after points?
Yeah, absolutely. You still need to play some football, but you know, you always have that mentality, and especially with them being 8 points in front on the scoreboard, it's exactly this. Get into some good field position, at a strike at a 40-20, but get to the back end of the sets. Now, get a good kick chase, get some good line speed, which they've been having in this opening 30-odd minutes. You know, really start to put the pressure back on the opposition. Try and force an error there, or just start to get in that arm wrestle and win it.
I see that the Gold Coast, I'm unsure if they go on to win this game today, only because Penrith is just such a good football side. But I see the Titans playing finals football this year. They haven't played the last 7 years. One of the real reasons I rate Ben Wolfe as a coach, but also they've had a really good selection stability so far this year. Most of their regulars have played 14, 15, 16 games. That alone gives you a really big advantage over the majority of your opposition. A lot of teams already up over 30 players used this year.
Yeah, and that can be the juggle, can't it, with the sides in the NYC. And, you know, we often hear a lot of people, they get frustrated with the amount of points or the amount of errors, but it does come with a lot of young guys just still learning the trade and coming in, and combinations are forever changing. But if you look at the Titans run home, they play a lot of the teams in their remaining games in the top 8. They play the West Tigers next week, who are currently sitting in 15th position. But other than that, they're up against the Broncos, then the Dragons. They're going to have a really tough run in, which is a good thing if you get it right.
Yeah, you get it right and you get some crucial wins. They are 4-point turning games, as going to the air is Roberts, not the kick he would have liked. Reeled back in. He's played at that twice of the Gold Coast Titans. Curtis Danzy smaller, and he almost came up with something quite special.
All the way back here.
Well, a bit unorthodox at the back end, but they get to it, get a little bit...
One, knock it to myself. Oh,
Catch
another
again.
crack.
But they've got the Panthers down this end of the field now. They've got a real opportunity to shorten that defensive line and really rip in like they've been doing and put the pressure on. And we can see there's a little bit of cramp early on in the game already. Had a couple of little injury concerns to the Panthers, which certainly hasn't helped their cause. But it was still a good set from the Titans. They got to the back end of it, got a contest on the kick. They're going to force the Panthers now. They're only 5 metres out from their line, and that has been one of the highlights. Defensively, they've really ripped in. Their line speed's been great. They've probably conceded a few too many metres, given away a couple of cheap penalties. But other than that, they've had some real intent in the way that they've defended.
That's early for a cramp, isn't it? 30 minutes in.
Certainly is, and considering the amount of stoppages that we've had in the game as well, it hasn't been, you know, a free-flowing game where we've, you know, we've had plenty of stoppages with tries scored, errors, penalties. So that's a bit of a concern there for Wade Egan.
Must hold here, wait for my go. Ethan, square. Hold, go.
Jermaine Hopgood playing the ball back to Egan, and this is Ben Cartwright, his first touch.
Must hold. Hold. 14 and 8.
Special day for the Cartwright family. Father Dave, grandfather Merv, obviously Uncle John. It's a Cartwright-a-thon here today in the ISP. There's Jed and Bryce, the cousins. There's, I'm not going to say little Benny, there's young Ben. Great rugby league family. Bloor. Mine's Reid Izzard, the most experienced of the Penrith Panthers. Another famous rugby league family. Then backing his way through the line. Fighting for every metre there. A really flat ball there out to Sam Martin-Savage, the young man in 6 but playing in the centres. Zondell Williams Lealavave. He's on in 14. This is the boot of Westcott.
First one is off Penrith, it'll be the last one for changeover.
First knock on off Penrith.
Wow.
Second off the Gold Coast.
And we'll get another look at this, but oh, he does. He gets her hands to it, Martin Savage. So well done to the referees there. At first glance, it looked like it was Danzy smaller from the Titans who knocked the ball on, but no hand come in, and that's important too. That call for the Gold Coast Titans. They had a good set, made some good metres of Penrith Panthers on the back of that penalty. And now they just need to get into their rhythm. But AJ Brimson really taking the borderline hard once again, and some good metres.
He's a good one, isn't he, Philip Sammy? Back to Wallace. Short interchange of passing. Some of the big men in the centre of the field. Just trying to keep the Panthers' defensive line just a little more on their heels. Here's big Moaki Fotuaika. Or did he lose that trying to get to his feet? The referees say no as Ethan Roberts goes downfield with the kick. Beautifully placed too. And gee, there was some pressure on the Penrith Panthers there, and the kick chase was good too. Oh, that could have ended in tears, couldn't it?
Wow, he shot out of the cannon there. Just didn't hit the mark, but...
Was that big Mo Fotuaika?
Fotuaika, it was the man who comes screaming out. He had it connected. I tell you, his kidneys would have been in the front row.
Yeah, the rest of his body at Cranebrook. Look at this. Oh, Sam Martin Savage. Not realise how lucky he was and has been until he sees the replay a little later. Spiral kick, and in the end, very well taken. A deal of desperation shown there by Curtis Stanzi Smaller. Already in Penrith territory, and they've had a majority of the football, the Titans. 56% of the football to Penrith's 44 after 34 minutes of the game. Laying out the back, Tyrone Roberts-Davis, good ball, and back inside. That spectacular stuff from the Gold Coast Titans. Daniel Brownbill adds his name to the try scorers list. That's the three-quarter line done. The 2, 3, 4 and 5 now, all scoring tries.
And it's going to this right edge once again. Ethan Roberts, he held the ball up and straightened the defensive line up when he took the ball to the line. He gets it on the outside, still with plenty of work to do. And they get that ball back on the outside. Once again, going to the edges, a bit of speed, nice shape, holds it up nicely. Tyrone Roberts-Davis, look at that for a flick pass onto the outside. The ball back on the inside. Great support play back up through the middle. And Daniel Brownbill races in. He's a big centre. He's 94 or 5 kilos out wide. He's a big lump of a lad, but great support back on that inside.
15 tries for the season for Daniel. He's a good one.
You can take that back, that try and those points back to the set before. It was a really solid set. Ethan Roberts, he kicks a ball deep. They force that pressure on the opposition, and then all of a sudden they come up trumps. If they can stay patient like that, they'll go a long way to winning this game.
Ethan Roberts just to the side of the post, and no dramas there. We're at to 26-12 in favour of the 9th place Gold Coast Titans. 9 wins, 8 losses.
Well, Alan mentioned that kick from Ethan Roberts to really get them in field position. I guess that's what we don't really see a lot in 20s, is it, you know, kicks for field position and repeat sets. We don't tend to see a lot of that and that game management. So really good work from Ethan Roberts, and he's one of their most experienced players, so no doubt it's coming from him.
Yeah, good identification, Emma. It's about pressure. It's a big ask because they're 18, 19, 20-year-old babies. I mean, they are, but we're asking for game ID and mature football. You know, there's a lot of pressure on it. It's not always structured, mature footy. It's, hey, look, let's play with my mates and have some fun. They're doing well today, 26-12. It's the most points Penrith have conceded in a half so far this year.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. I didn't think too many would see this opening 40 minutes panning out the way it is, but they certainly have come here with real purpose, and still they've bumbled along a little bit, the Gold Coast Titans, but they're still scoring plenty of points and showing their strike. And good set after points once again.
Tungy, what I've liked about the Titans, there's been no garbage tries or no lucky ones. What they have done with the football has been really smooth. It's been calculated. I mean, it's been premeditated, but they've carried out the game plan near perfectly.
It's been slick, hasn't it? And you mentioned Ben Wolf before, and I've got the same raps on him too. I think he's a wonderful coach, and his side, you know, they're playing to their strengths. They've just got to tighten up this ruck around the middle, because this is where the Panthers are making some really cheap meters.
Main hop good. It was set up by Egan. It's Egan again. Sam Martin Savage. Back to Toby Westcott. On to Caleb Aikens. Ball goes out. Over they go. Vondell Williams, Lealavave. showing you and the Gold Coast Titans that you can never relax against the Panthers.
And this is what they can do. They've got strike right across the park. Wade Egan in particular in around the middle. He gets players back on the inside, and we're just having a look as he done his hamstring the way Vondell, Williams, Leah Lavave, Sam Martin Savage down that outside. Westcott heavily involved. Aikens, the ball back on the outside. He plants it down, but a little bit of a struggle, but you can see just the bodies left on the ground. It's this ruck speed which Penrith are really dominating in around the middle. And when they do that, when the Titans' big men, well, they don't get that wrestle right on the ground, as that's when the Panthers have got the most joy.
Isn't it ironic? We were just talking about mature football and against eyes up adventurous footy. There was nothing on there. That was eyes up footy. So there is room for a nice balance and a nice mix between the two. But unfortunately, for our man Vondell Williams Leah Lavave, we think it's a hamstring, maybe groin, but his day's done.
Yeah, and just when we looked at going to the ground, it didn't seem like he fell too awkward at all. It just, but he knew straight away. He grabbed at that right leg, and unfortunately, his morning is over.
From a similar position to a successful kick earlier. 26-16. And he's pushed this one to the right. It is 26-16, right on half-time here at Penrith. The Panthers, it appears, down to 16 for the rest of the game. Hope you're enjoying your morning so far on Fox League. After the break, we'll run through the many highlights of a wonderful opening 40 minutes right here on Fox League.
Okay, buddy.
Perfect conditions here in Penrith, and we are live on Fox League for the second half action between the Panthers and the Titans. A 10-point game, 26-16. Gold Coast defending the northern end of Pepper Stadium for this 40 minutes. They have the first use of the football in the second part. This is Toby Toraro, one of the bigger frames in this footy side. Lillis, non-stop in his work rate, as always. Playing out the back here. Gee, again, really good stuff from the Titans. They scored in the opening 60 seconds of the first half. They may well do it here in the second half. Williams buckles down, injured. Here is Toraro. Running into Cartwright. We're also running into Kenny. Egan was the third man in on the tackle. Last one here for the Gold Coast. Popping his head through, and Brownbill scores number 2 for his afternoon. 2 halves of football in every game, and the Titans, they've started both perfectly.
Yeah, they've screamed out of the blocks, and it's that shape to the edges once again. Tyrone Roberts-David gets that right arm free. It was the offload on the back to the inside to Brownbill that scored the Titans' last try in the first 40 minutes. And this time it's the right arm float to his outside to get his third double of his career. Brownbill in the right place, the right time, but great setup work from his inside men. Ethan Roberts heavily involved, but also Tyrone Roberts-Davis.
Good ball from the inside. A real confidence and a real talent to be able to execute like that at pace. 16 so far this year. I'd be smiling too.
Just keeping an eye on Trey Williams, who went down injured on that left-hand side, Ray. He's trying to get back to his feet and get back into position, but I think he's got some trouble with his ankle. He'll try and run it out, but that'll be a huge concern. A bit of a juggle. Important kick from out wide here to Ethan Roberts. Just trying to extend that buffer.
14 is the difference. 14 will remain the difference. After wrapping Ethan earlier, there hasn't been a whole lot to celebrate in terms of goal kicking. 3 from 6 they are. It could be a whole lot worse for the Panthers. 30 points to 16. Still a long way to go in this one.
Well, the Gold Coast Titans, 7 from 7 when leading at halftime this year, but also take this into account that twice last year they led against the Panthers at halftime, but lost twice. So still plenty of work to be done.
Of course, the women's match tomorrow live on Fox League, part of Women in League round. Cannot wait. Another chock-a-block day of greatest game in the world. Here is Sammy. Secured in a tackle of 4. They still couldn't get him to the ground. Right on halfway. Brimson plays it back on the unders line to Kobe Terraro. Really denting the line there. Every time it seems Terraro takes the ball on that left side of the field, Rory Lillis isn't far away. He's the next in line. We go to Brimson. He goes to the air and pressure at the back here for the Panthers. And defensively, Gold Coast so close to forcing the Panthers back in goal. And it's Zane Wallace and also Kobe Terraro leading this defensive charge. Now the teammates are joining in and shooting off the line quickly. Yeah, they just got to be careful they don't give away a penalty. But that's a perfect set after points, and some of that game management that Emma spoke about, that was really good work from AJ Brimson. Getting the ball deep, putting the defensive pressure on now. Seen Daniel Brownbill score 2 tries today. There's a illustration of his defensive capabilities, really quickly up in the face of Reed Izzard. Good contact. Brought the back rower down very quickly. Tyrone Roberts-Davis with the return. And 5 minutes into this second half, it's safe to say...
Lost ball.
Well, it was up until that knock-on, safe to say, that the Titans are winning this territorial battle. And a really poor error here.
Yep, that's what you call a coach killer right there, Tyrone Roberts-David, who has been fantastic. And it was good reward, that field position, when he caught that football, starting on the 40-metre line from that pressure that they put in on that kick, that defensive workload that they put in, but just a little error. But this happens. You just got to make sure that your next set, you really aim up and you control and you don't leak points.
I think this is Brad Gordon. No, it's Mitch Kenny in 13. Back on the inside here. Benny Cartwright, younger brother of Bronx. Mossy Filo. Named in the centres, starting from the interchange. Another pass there from Egan, a little fakey if you like. He's had a busy afternoon and morning. Mitch Kenny. Oh, it's on here for Penrith. Whoa. A little lack of communication there. They certainly had the numbers. Do they still have them? And the answer to that question is no. And there's one that they've lost.
Yeah, they butchered that to that right-hand side, the play before. Aikens, he swept around late to that right-hand side. They had numbers galore, but just overrun the pass on that occasion. They couldn't get the ball in goal, but a great try-saving tackle at the back end. There's some good meters here through Danzy Smaller from the Gold Coast Titans.
Good run from Philip Sammy, equally as good as the defence there, buckling him back over. And by rolling the player onto his back and facing him different direction, you're really slowing the ball down. It might only be by 3/4 of a second or a second, but it's giving your defensive line a huge advantage. Is that off the leg? And we play on. Penrith have got the ball, so it doesn't matter. And some counter football here. Caleb Aikens back on halfway. That is tackle 1. At Gold Coast, that's 2 or 3 sets now back-to-back that have been incomplete. The last 4 head-to-head matches between these two footy sides decided by 12 points or less. We're in for more of the same here. I'm just not yet prepared to nominate the winner. They're up by 14, the Titans, but it's sort of a case of just waiting for Penrith. We know they'll come good. How good and when are the questions? Travelling across field here is Warmaleton, and he straightens, and now he's carrying a couple. Good stuff from the winger. Out the back to Bloor, across field, and knock on.
And then it's 20 metres. He caught the ball first, and contact's made from Penrith.
Okay, well, you heard the discussion between the refs and the touchy, and there was certainly someone in and around the group that was yelling, knock on Gold Coast. Let you be the judge here in the replay box.
Well, I don't know if he's held the ball enough on that occasion.
No.
But the referee's made the call and we move on with it, and it's an important call for the Gold Coast Titans to get out of their own end of the field, because you're right, you're not confident in saying that the Gold Coast Titans have got this. You've got to be wary of this Penrith side with so much strike. It was a lovely crossfield kick by Bloor. Just couldn't come up trumps on that occasion.
That's 2 times they've come close and walked away with nothing. Can't afford for that to happen another 2 times in the next couple of minutes. Here goes Brimson. Well-weighted kick through, and there's a try. The Titans extend their lead. Moaki Fotuaika, the big front rower, with a double.
Well, that's magic, isn't it, from the Gold Coast Titans? AJ Brimson, he took to the ball to the line originally, gets the cutout pass. It's still 5th play. They need to get the ball back on the inside. You could see Ethan Roberts, he puts up his hands. And then the big front rower comes through to score the try off the kick. Their 2nd ranking in tries off kick in the NYC competition. So they set up nicely for those plays. AJ Brimson's a man. And Fotuaika, he's a guy, the big front rower. He bags himself a double.
Front rowers scoring doubles. Along with 13 tackles, 7 hit-ups, an offload and a line break for big Moaki. 6 for the season. Just under half an hour remaining. 34-16. Is it enough? With a goal here, it means 4 scores. Goal's good. That's a 20-point game, Emma Lawrence. A big challenge now for the Panthers.
Yeah, well, the Panthers coach, David Tangata-Toa, his message at halftime was just
30 metres.
To muscle up in defence. And he just said, you're not going to win this game if you don't muscle up. It's actually funny because the Panthers are the best defensive team in the comp, so it's strange that they have leaked so many points. And some more bad news for the Panthers. Vondell Williams, Leela Varve has done his hammy and he won't be back for the rest of the game.
Here's the try scorer, Fotuaika. Anthony Griffin, the Penrith coach, head coach, first grade coach, watching on. Maybe making mental notes, I would think, Alan, and having a good look. I would suggest it would probably wait Egan and see what he's doing, how he's doing it.
Yeah, be keeping a close eye on a number of those players, and in particular Egan, as you spoke about. But I also want to give A big wrap to the 14. Zay Wallace from the Gold Coast Titans has come on as an interchange dummy half player.
Yeah.
Just has given them some real spark in and around the middle and created some havoc. And on the back of a couple of sharp runs, have got him into some good field position and pretty much gave him that opportunity to score that last try.
Calabacons pirouetting out of one. And they were offside here, the Gold Coast Titans. That's a real escape for Penrith. And at 36-16, let's be honest, Penrith need absolutely everything going their way.
There still is plenty of time, and with this side, the amount of strike, and we know that when the Panthers, they get on a roll, they can score points quite easily. But for the Gold Coast Titans, they really need to get that discipline without the football now. We've spoken a lot about that game management, you know, kicking to the corners and building pressure like that. They need to be really content just to get their line set, make their tackles, control the ground before they get into their attacking sets.
And here they come. Egan moves into dummy half. Big Tommy Skinner. Superb today, Tom. Particular with the footy. He's been tireless in his work. 15 is Brad Gort. Another on debut. Well done to Brad and the family. Back to Westcott. Sam Martin Savage. Light feet. Doesn't catch the Titans out. Short side here. Last play. Grubber through. Played it once, twice, and a knock on from the Titans. Well, a little lucky there because the ball on the last tackle was a low percentage play coming to the short side anyway, but it ended up with Jermaine Hopgood. And I got big rap on this young man, but kicking is not one of his strengths.
Yeah, and he got caught going down that short side. Egan tried to take him on, and the ball's come back on the inside, so he had to get a kick on the 5th play. And it comes up eventually. This is Brownbill. He's eyes are rolling around like the poker machines over the other side of the road here at the moment. He had a heavy contact. He's down on the ground. Is he going to try, and he'll have to come off for a HIA. So that'll be a real juggle for them.
Oh,
crikey.
Gee whiz, no wonder he's feeling a little on the dusty side.
Could end up with a snout like me if he's tackling him like that.
And you wouldn't wish that upon anyone, I say, in due respect.
Thanks for that, Andy. But he's been so strong out wide, and this is a tricky little time here for the Gold Coast Titans. They've got another little good possession here, good field position for the Panthers. The Titans, they're out on their feet without a key man out wide. Here we go.
Yours, mate.
Skinner again. Great work rate. Impact. Top shelf as well. It's facing east-west, not north-south. Playing the ball, and they've lost it here.
I'll take this one.
More high fives than the Harlem Globetrotters going on in this little exchange with the Gold Coast Titans. And Dean Bloor copping a good old spray as well. The Penrith halfback who lost control of the footy. That's a good call from the refs who have been good today. Yeah,
and AJ Brimson comes up with a big play, and it's good to see, isn't it, the way they've all rushed in to congratulate him. They know it shows how important this game is to them in the context of their season, where they are on the ladder up against one of the heavyweights. They really needed a big play there. And little halfback AJ Brimson, who's been fantastic in attack, comes up with a really big defensive play.
Titans from their backfield, and really good defence. Darius Farmer on debut. Dude, we've said that a few times today, haven't we? And that's great to see. Next large group of kids coming through the grade late in the season through a mixture of injury, form, or promotion.
Wade, we're not calling you all day. No, it's 10
do you hear the ref then? I've told you all day. I thought that's one of the great calls from the sideline from row 6.
Yeah.
All day ref.
That was a big penalty, though, for them. Late in the tackle count by one of their most experienced players in Wade Egan. And now the Titans are just humming along nicely. 24 minutes to go. Well in charge on the scoreboard and in some good field position again to score some more.
Wallace, who Tungy gave a really good rap to earlier, and I concur, has sparked this footy side. Again, the shape was nice out on this right-hand side for the Gold Coast. Defence just superior this time. Fotuaika, big motto, looking for a hat-trick. Offloads to Fye, and Justin is less than a metre from points. Wallace out to the left-hand side. Brimson stepping back in. They're going to award this a try, despite the protests from Penrith, because they thought there was an obstruction at the football there. And it is the Titans now. I don't think they'll be beaten at 40-16. Kick to come.
Yeah, you'd think now with the Titans, with that try, it's AJ Brimson, the keeper, Park Jr. He's light on his feet. He's got a touch footy background. And look at this. He dummies to the outside step once, twice, back on the inside, puts the afterburners on and races away. And his teammates come in to support him.
Al, your thoughts here on the possible obstruction on the outside? It's probably... That's not the angle that illustrates it well, but that the Panthers, they were blowing up Deluxe. Now, can you be an obstruction on the outside? We'll let you be the judge at home.
Oh, he definitely makes contact. The way that he steps back on the inside, I'm happy with that decision. The way it rolls there. I think you know, the way that he's come back in to score that try and coming in to make that decision hasn't impeded him enough. And AJ Brimson, an important try for the Gold Coast Titans.
Tyrone Roberts-Davis. Little smile on the face there as he lines it up and pops it over. And you can see the big screen right in between the goalposts there. Maybe, as we at a close-up of the camera, he could see himself, take the... Does that make sense? Take the shot at goal?
He's checking out his pearly whites, this guy, on the way through to the kick. They do it all here in the under-20s.
Massive Sunday tomorrow, the ladies' game, of course, the Dragons and the Eagles, the Eels and the Tigers. And you have our permission to camp your backside on the lounge and enjoy your Sunday with us at Fox League. We'll do the work, you do the relaxing and enjoying, and the players will steal the show as they do each and every week. Fotuaika. Just on the hour mark here. 8 tries to 3. Bumping one, fine. Caught by Egan, and also Hopgood. Up we go from Ethan Roberts. Tested the back for Aikens, lets it bounce.
20. Your whistle, Kieran.
And a 7-tackle set back out to the 20-metre line.
And just keeping an eye on the body language there. You can see from the Panthers, and that's a bit of a concern. Need some points and need some energy in this attack.
Defensively, I think that's where David Tangata-Toa and the Penrith side will be showing most concern in their review here. They've conceded 30 as a maximum in any game this year. 42 already. It's a slight, yep, absolutely on the Panthers' defence. But I think we'll put this in context and we'll give the rap instead to the Titans' attack. I think it's been great.
I think you're absolutely right. I think they've played to their strengths, and that's been on the edges, and they've played with plenty of speed. Yeah, they've given away a couple of penalties and some turnovers cheaply, which they'll need to improve as they march on towards this top 8 position that they're so desperate for. But it's been a really good showing, and in particular, these guys, Fotuaika, he's been great, in particular in this second half. Fire has really backed him up well. I think they got beaten through the middle in that first half, and they've changed that up, and they've laid a much better platform in this second 20 minutes of this second half.
Sammy, that's a double for Phillip. What a performance this has been from the Gold Coast Titans. Dare I say their best this year. It's coincided with one of Penrith's poorer performances. The Ben Wolf and the Gold Coast Titans, well done. And there is still a long way to go in this one. You're going to rack up 50 against one of the competition guns.
And it's an important way to do that because they were negative 58 on the for and against coming into this game. So it's really, really important. And this actually racks up their highest ever score against the Penrith Panthers for the Gold Coast side. So there's not too many teams that rack up a huge amount of points up against these Penrith Panthers with such a quality opposition. But this just shows how dominant this has been for this Young's Titans side.
Titans have got the Tigers next week, the Broncos, both those games at home. Then they're away to the Dragons, away to the Eels, back at home for the Bulldogs, and then the Roosters to finish. So sides in and around their little struggle for positions 4 to 8 on the competition ladder, and this is giving them a massive leapfrog over several sides, and also catching up to the Panthers. (46-16). Taking a mile of time from the sideline and sprays it to the left. So the scoreline remains 46-16 in favour of the Titans.
Alan, I know before you mentioned that AJ Brimson is a Keebra Park junior and the try scorer Phillip Sammy is as well. They've actually got 5 of them from Keebra Park. We know it's a great rugby league school. Benji Marshall went there, and their coach Ben Wolf was actually a teacher there and taught most of them as well, so he knows all of the boys quite well.
And if Benji wasn't playing football, he'd still be trying to pass Year 12. Year 11, the finest 5 years of Benji's life. I know my buddy Bags would be watching from Brisbane, having a little laugh, or maybe wishing he was down here and tapping me on the nose. Oh, beautiful Gold Coast football here. Noema on his left, and Sammy has scored 2 tries in 2 minutes, 3 for the game, and that's 50 for the Gold Coast.
What about this performance from the Gold Coast Titans? And they're all over each other at the moment. They're happy as with the way that they've been playing, and down this left-hand edge they've been playing with so much speed. As you can see it here, great service out of dummy half. Ethan Roberts straightening up the line once again. AJ Brimson taking the football right to the line. And what about the speed from Noema? He races away, draws the fullback, Caleb Aikens, beautifully, and Phillip Sammy doing exactly his role, supporting on the outside, and finishes off and bags himself a hat-trick for all that great effort.
Phillip Sammy, what an afternoon he has had. Played 1 NRL game in the middle of the Origin period earlier this year. Tungy, was it round 16?
Round 15.
15, was
up
it?
Up against South Sydney. Unfortunately, they lost that game, but it was still a great experience for him, and no doubt bringing that confidence back in to this NYC competition. And
I know Neil Henry's got a good rap on him, the head coach of the Gold Coast Firsts. I'm going to show you something after this kick, and while there was some really good football towards the end of that try, one key thing sticks out to me that set it up that was just beautiful to watch. Kick is good. 10 tries to 3, 52-16. Let's go to the dummy half and Zay Wallace and the pass. Out in front, right out in front. Right out in front of Justin Fye. So as a result, he's accelerating to get to the ball. All of a sudden, the entire left-hand side is on the front foot.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when you look at that play, every pass was on the money from each of those players. It was firstly set up by Wallace, but then everybody played their role. Their timing's been impeccable on the edges, on both sides, but in particular that left-hand side, they've really worked well. And the difference, there's a real tempo difference in the way that Ethan Roberts and AJ Brimson play their football. Yeah. And that disturbs the defensive line. One plays with a huge amount of speed and it takes the ball right on. The other's got a little bit more tempo, slows it up. And the defensive team is in two minds.
I'm a fan of the 13-a-side game, not a fan of the 15-a-side game. One of the things, however, rugby union does do well, in my opinion anyway, is the delivery of the pass a foot and a half in front of the chest.
Tyrone Roberts-Davis, he's away here, Andy.
We've seen, oh, that's forward. Justin Fye, short-lived celebrations of a try. Going back to the rugby union, an incredible ability to deliver a pass to a running player a foot and a half or an arm's length in front of his chest. It means you're moving forward, you're not stopping, you're not pausing, you're not pivoting to collect a football. Something I don't think the league in general has really learnt from rugby union, but we've seen today a couple of great examples of running onto the football.
Well, it's just so important, in particular, a dummy half. Now, I wasn't a natural dummy half, but I had to, play that at the back end of my career, and I watched a lot of the other dummy half players, the hooking role positions in the competition, and you look at the service they do, and there was none better than Mick Ennis, and I used to watch a lot of that. And if you get that right at dummy half, it can really set up not only your forwards, but your halves and your outside men. It's so important that you get clean, crisp ball from the middle of that service, because it really can make or break, those set pieces.
He's one of our co-commentators. I'd rather have some fun and bag him than give him a rap. But no, I agree with Mick Ennis. And it was a natural ability of Mick. Mick had it as a maturing youngster, but great service. And the pass was, a foot and a half out from the chest. He brought the forwards onto the ball. You got the Panthers looking for just try number 4. And some pressure at the back.
20.
There's some confidence at the back too from Tyrone Roberts-Davis. It was like he had the extra sense. Didn't even have to look up. He knew where the Panthers were. He knew how much time he had, and he just let it cross the dead ball line.
And it's just that little bit of extra maturity that you see that really stands out in this competition. We spoke about Philip Sammy with his 1 NRL game. Well, Tyrone Roberts-Davis, he's got 6 to his name, and I think there'll be plenty more to come.
Early in the count here. 10 minutes to go. Wallace off to Lenahan. Speculator out the back and launched upon there.
Up now.
There's Darius Farmer. Keenan Yorston. Had a lot of time on the field today. Keenan. Ball out to this very dangerous left-hand side again, Tyrone Roberts-Davis. Getting in amongst it, Trey Williams. We thought he was down and maybe gone earlier in the day. Great to see him still back out there. Awful pass to Brimson. He's got very little options. As a result, he grubbers just a couple of metres into touch as we go down to the touchline. Of course, the Intrust Super Premiership is up next. Emma, we've seen Bryce Cartwright here. There was a suggestion later in the week he was playing. There was a suggestion they may rest him for another week. Teams are in. Bryce playing.
He certainly is playing after a long injury layoff, and that means he's going to be playing with his cousin Jed. Now, their coach Garth Brennan said he'll probably play about 25 minutes in the first half and then 25 in the second half as well. He said he'll probably be blowing a bit. They just want to get that match fitness up, and Garth said he'd love to have him for a few weeks, but doesn't think he'll have him any longer than a fortnight and he'll be back up in first grade.
Yeah, really interesting that we've got Ben Cartwright playing and on debut for the Penrith 20s today, and the two cousins, Bryce and Jed, playing together in the Intrust Super Premiership. Have you seen Jed Cartwright this year? He's bigger than his father. And John, he is a monster, but Jed, gigantic and playing out in the centres. And looks, I mean, it's a mini-me. It's just not that mini. Here's Aikens. Limited opportunities in particular in this second half for Caleb. Rebel keeps going through Hopgood and on to Daniel Brown. Short delivery, good delivery, and a really nice Penrith try. Mossy Filo is the scorer from the interchange. It's not going to put too many smiles on the faces of the Panthers players, coaching staff, or their fans, because they've been comprehensively outplayed, outclassed, and out-enthused today, but a nicer way to finish.
Well, they've never given up, have they, the Panthers? No. They've continued to try hard, and it'll just bring back a little bit of that routine that they have had. They usually do. They play to their edges, score plenty of points out wide. They just haven't been good enough today. They've been beaten by a better side, a more enthusiastic side, and they've been just caught out on their edges. They're going to have to do a lot of defensive work on their edges. They'd be disappointed because this is the first of 4 home games for them here at Pepper Stadium for the Panthers, one that's got away.
Pushes it out to the right-hand side, does Dean Bloor. 52-20, 10 tries to 4. The try scoring started inside the opening 60 seconds. Here's a live ladder. Cronulla with their 40-14 victory last night. And Penrith loss sees them all but securing the minor premiership, a 7-point gap. You can see where the Titans are from 9th to 5th in one performance. And they're for and against. Was in the 50s, now into the negative 20s. That's huge.
Yeah, it was negative 58 coming in, and they're equal 4th there as well with Seagull. So this just shows how big a game this was for the Gold Coast side.
It also shows how important every single successful tackle is for the next 6 minutes. That for and against is going to be the real thing that hurts the Gold Coast on the road in. Are you going to dummy half? Playing out the back to Bloor. A couple of options there. Ended up using Reed Izzard. Back against the angle there, Egan. Used Cartwright as the option. Dummy to Ben in 16. Didn't use him. They now go to Toby Westcott. Lovely take from Tyrone Roberts-Davis, the fullback. A really good game for Tyrone again today. The only back that hasn't scored points, Tyrone Roberts-Davis.
He certainly set up a couple, though, for Brown, Bill, on his outside, chiming into that back line nicely. And he's got that great right-hand offload, too. He's got that speed to get through the gaps, but gets that arm free. And he's caused some real havoc as they go down this left side again.
Philip Sammy, Grubbers through. Dusty kick. Oh, it's still alive. A knockback, a kick forward. ×2. And some counter-attack here for the Panthers. Brown down the sideline. Beautiful step. Beat 4 in 10 metres. And Daniel Brown collects today.
Well, he's a try-scoring machine, isn't he, Howard? He's got plenty of speed down their side, and there was a heap of chases coming through from the Gold Coast Titans. They put plenty of energy into this. This is the error down the other end of the field. He tried to tap the ball back, Trey Williams. He kicks it back with his foot. He's doing everything he can to get his hands on the football again, but they couldn't do it, and they turned that defence straight into attack. They go down this side. As you can see, Daniel Brown, he races away, just holds up a little bit, and they overchase, and he runs around to finish off underneath the post, and they successfully convert.
52-26. I'm no genius, but 78 combined points. Just wonder how close we're getting to most points in a game. We said early, jokingly, that we're on track for 200. Hasn't quite reached that stage. I think we've had a 90 game this year, 88 and 90 points perhaps. Of course, it was a couple of weeks ago. We didn't televise it, but the Sharks and the Tigers were 84-6 or something. Yeah, it was 84-6. The competition leading Cronulla Sharks did a number on the Tigers. And we're not going to get 2 converted tries to equal that in the next 3 minutes, but we're up there in terms of points. Really dominant performance from Gold Coast. From what we've seen, their best performance not only this season, but in some years. Really impressive. Mossy Philo. There's David Tangatoa, who's a very good coach and who knows these players extremely well, their strengths and their weaknesses. He's going to have a little bit of soul searching and a few questions to answer himself, and I guess one of them will be Sam Martin-Savage, the 6. In fact, with the ball now, has played at 6 in every game this year, but playing in the centres today.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't had enough football, has he? And we know what he can do with it as a ball goes straight through and back on the inside on debut.
Right. On debut. Famous name at this venue. Collects some points. Three tries in 5 or 6 minutes. Amazing stuff from Penrith. He's got the Cartwright one-handed carry, doesn't he?
He's a big lump of a lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Unfortunate here for the Gold Coast Tide in what has been a really dominant display. But yeah, leaking these points at the back end. Not only is hurting at the back end of the year with this for and against, as we've spoken about, but just showing a little bit of vulnerability. That won't make Ben Wolf real happy in what has been such a great performance.
So 52-32. 84 points. Yeah, got the calculator out here. It's the equal 4th highest scoring game this year.
I ran out of fingers and toes to count on a fair while ago, mate.
Have we got one more converted try in us? You never say never in under 20s footy. Can we get to the 90? Davey Westcott on debut, and 24 goes back to clean it up. Panthers look at having a crack, and this has looked most likely with Philo and Brown on this left-hand side. Intrust Super Premiership up next, and the first of 3 live NRL games. The Panthers and the Titans ready to do their thing. Trying to finish in style here is Penrith. And the last play has arrived. The siren sounded. Back to 0. What can they do here, Penrith? Across field it goes. The Gold Coast might well have a crack. No, they've had enough. They've done enough. And they've done it well. 10 tries to 6. Gold Coast 52 have defeated Penrith 32.